So now we're going to build the servo circuit, and notice we still have all of the components from our last two circuits here on the breadboard. And this is one of the challenges of building circuits in Arduino and getting to know your way around a breadboard. As you can see, it starts to fill up, and you have to find different places to actually put the different components on the breadboard. Again, we have some flexibility with that, as I showed you in previous videos. So really we can use any free space as long as we're not using a row that we had used before. So for example, we wouldn't want to put a wire right here in the same row as we already have an LED. However, otherwise we can put it in any of these spaces, for example, that don't have any components attached to them. So what we're going to play with now is this servo motor here, and the servo motor is a very easy to control motor that allows us a 180-degree range of motion, and it uses this very simple 3-wire interface. So servos are relatively cheap and easy to use, easy to control, easy to program, and that's why we like to use them. They have some disadvantages over other kinds of motors. When we work with motors like this DC motor, that is also a kind of ubiquitous motor you see everywhere if you open up any kind of electronics that has moving parts. This DC motor turns around, its shaft goes 360 degrees perpetually and can be turned one way or another. It's a little bit cheaper than a servo motor, but a servo motor can be positioned precisely, as we'll see, between 0 and 180 degrees. So to connect the servo motor, we want to actually plug wires into this 3-wire interface. So if you notice, these different ports these different holes here are associated with these 3 colored wires. So I'm going to plug the red one here in the center. Your wire colors may be slightly different, but the red is always going to be the part of the servo motor that we are using to actually power the servo motor. It's the positive side of the circuit. So I'm going to plug that in here. And then in my case here, I have one of these pins that is associated with the brown wire, which is ground. Yours may be black, but again, it should have just this simple three-wire interface. And I'm going to plug this black wire now into the blue strip, the negative strip of the LED. And then I'm going to take a yellow wire here, which is associated with this orange wire on the servo itself. And then I'm going to take this yellow wire and I'm going to plug this yellow wire into pin 9 of the breadboard on the digital side. You can see this digital side of the breadboard here, and I've plugged the wire into pin 9. And so now, if I plug this in, nothing will happen because we actually still have our old code here. But what I'm going to do now, and again, if you have trouble doing this, you should use the software video that accompanies this circuit demonstration. And it is in File, Examples, Servo, Knob. And once I upload this, you can see the servo made a little jump. And now when I turn this potentiometer, I'm able to change the position, as you can see, between about 0 and 180 degrees, give or take a few degrees. You can get more expensive servos that can bear more weight and are more precise in their positioning, but you get the basic concept. And again, this sensor here could be a light sensor, it could be a weight sensor, it could be a radioactivity sensor, any number of forms of energy in the world could be sensed in a system like this, and the circuit would remain very much the same, as would the programming.